Well, we are here at the home of Derek and Shannon Brooke. It's episode number 10. We're celebrating our 10th episode, and that's a nice round number. So we're right here at Shannon and Derek Brooks' home here in Tustin, Michigan. Derek, good to have you.
Good to be here. Good to be here.
Good to have you. Derek and Shannon have a YouTube page that is called, or YouTube channel is what we should call it, right? YouTube is still kind of...
Yeah.
We put our podcast on it. We call it a page. It's a channel. Depends on what people are looking at, I guess, with that. But it's called In the Field, and it is a great way to take outdoor and nature and all the things that God has created on the outside, and they put in scripture. And it's not a podcast per se with interviewing or whatever, but it's more. You can explain it to us, actually, because it's not mine. So I need to quit talking about it, right? But tell us about In the Field.
Well, you summed it up pretty good. It's just a YouTube channel that we like doing hunting and outdoor stuff, and I drive tractors and old equipment and put scripture in and talk about the Lord and all that stuff. So
Yeah, it's a great way. What gave you the idea? What gave you the vision for it?
Well, when we first started it, I wasn't really going to do it. I didn't want to be a YouTuber. I didn't really care if anybody knew who I was. I didn't really care. Like, I would actually prefer to be an unknown, hide in the corner and live a nice quiet life. But I get to praying about it, and the Lord says, no, you're going to do it. And he kept telling me to do it, even though back in the early days, we really had no subscribers and our content wasn't very good for a very long time. So we saw very little. It was like flatlined at the bottom for a long time.
At the bottom.
And he just kept telling us keep going and keep going and keep going. So the Lord is in the show because he wanted it. That's really how it ended up there, because I always wanted to make a hunting show, and it's grown into something different from that now, but the Lord was in there from the beginning because he requested it. So.
And I love what you said. He was in it anyway, and just took off with it, and you really couldn't say no. You wanted to and did, but it wasn't going to sit.
It wasn't going to work, yeah.
Yeah. So what? How long have you been doing it? You know, is it years?
It's been about 7 years that we've been working on it. Yeah.
So that's 2017, man. That was a while ago. All right.
I remember that because that's when we were married, and that's pretty much when it started. So.
Okay. Well, that's when everything starts, when you
Yeah.
get married. So you started with that. You guys were newly married, and let's rewind it. We're going to pick that back up after we've set the stage. Now, that is the reason why we're here today. I love these guys, and Derek was a coworker of mine for a couple years at Salisbury Trucking, a great expert diesel mechanic, and did a great job over there. And I'm still the upfront, ugly receptionist making coffee. That's all I do over there. But he was a godsend coming in, because you could tell he was a man of faith. We've had great discussions coming in there talking about the Lord. And it was a pleasure working with you. And we come to our Bible study, we have at work, he and his wife and her mother and another friend from their church. So there's been a kindred spirit here that we haven't let stop, which I'm very grateful for. And so with the Build My Church network, we're all about helping other people that have vehicles spreading the gospel too. That's what we're about, to build the kingdom. So we're happy to be here and to just be a part of what you're doing, and hopefully help that spread even more. Because you probably have more followers than we do, so you should be helping us.
God's made anything happen, and he's going to do what he wants with it anyway. I want to have tons of subscribers, but God does what he wants.
He does.
I'd rather have people in the kingdom. That's really what it boils down to.
Which is what we're all about. You're in the field, doing the things of God, bringing nature, God's the creator, drawing us back to that, using the things that you guys love, and then bringing it all together full circle. We'll come back to that part again. Your testimony, growing up, you've told me this before, which I love. Tell me how you came to know the Lord.
Well, really, it's my wife. My wife made it happen. I grew up loosely Christian. I wouldn't say I was, and looking back, I definitely wasn't. But for a heathen, I was pretty godly. I prayed from time to time, and I had God answered my prayers, and you'd think I would have gravitated towards him sooner, but really it took my wife to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And that's really when I dug in deep to what Jesus was all about, because she dug in deep and she told me all about it. And so it's really, I found a woman who loved Jesus and knew a lot about Jesus and wanted other people to know a lot about him and dug deep, and that's why I dug deep. So that's thanks to my wife, who's back there at the moment.
Yeah. Miss Shannon will not be on the camera here today, but she's making all this possible. She is. We show what a team you are. We're talking about your testimony and how this has all worked. This would not happen without both of you being together. It's a team effort.
It would not happen without Shannon.
Right.
Shannon is the one who makes me look as good as possible, which is a miracle, by the way.
Amen. No, I'm kidding. But because you guys have got good knowledge with if it's computers, if it's production, with all the stuff that goes in there together, it's truly a team effort. And she's moving around here, working the angles, finding the best shots, and all this stuff to make it look good today. And so we appreciate her for doing that, and I know you do as well. God knows exactly who to put in our lives right when He does, right? Whether you knew it or not, you knew, hey, obviously, okay, I love this lady right here, and you dated and developed into God putting you together, and now you formed your family. And so your life plan has taken a different turn. What were your goals as a young man growing up?
I kind of floated. I didn't really have goals. I just kind of envisioned I'd be a farmer, and I liked hunting, and that's about as far as it went.
Yeah.
Until I met Shannon, and she led me to the Lord, and the Lord led me to keep making the show. But really, Shannon is the one who makes the show. I started off trying to edit the show, and I just did not have the patience for it or the background in the editing software.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where Shannon stepped right in.
It's not as easy as it looks, is it?
She had the patience, and she's always had that meticulous artistic look on things. Then she was good with the program. She'd run Adobe programs before, so she knew what she was doing.
I think you watch something on television, or now with desktop publishing, with computers, I could look at that and go, that can't be hard until you try to do something. You're like, I don't even know if I'm clicking or clacking.
That's exactly what I thought when I watched some people on YouTube make a hunting show. I was like, man, they can do it, I can do that. And it's like, yeah, they're doing something, that's for sure.
It's a skill that can be learned, but if you got to have the attributes for it as well, for sure. Because, we were talking, you grew up, we've tried to figure out what to call what Derek's goal was in life, or what he thought he would be: a filmographer, a director, a cinematographer. You want to make movies, right?
That's what I went to college for, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't recommend Central Michigan for that, but it worked out pretty good. Because I met my wife at Central Michigan. We talk about this all the time. Neither her nor I am really doing what we went in to do, but I'm kind of closer than she was. But anyway, long story short, it was an expensive way to find a wife, but it worked out.
We're grabbing lots of sound bites off of this right here, and that all's well that ends well. It's kind of the journey of life, because we can all piece that together. I call my life a quilt. This patch was from here and that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Central. You thought you're going to come out of here and be the next Cecil B. DeMille. And that God just had a different plan.
Yeah.
And your wife walked in there, and it was over with at that point, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So you take that and say, okay, God changed course, and now here I am. What do you tell people? I got a daughter graduating in a couple months, and she's still figuring out what she wants to do. And I've talked to teens for many, many years. You're not that far away from being one. You guys are still young people yourselves. What do you tell people trying to find their place in the world and what to do?
Well, nobody's really asked me, but
I just did.
But from what I find, what you want to do earlier than what I figured it out. I was old. I old for figuring out what I wanted to do with my whole life. I was probably, how old were we? I was 23. You were 24 when we got married, and that's when we started down this path. Don't wait that long, is what I say. Find it out as soon as possible. Get into a lot of different areas if you have to, but start when you're 10, 11, 12. Start looking. That's what I would do.
You have to try to encourage people to not wait. Part of that is it's God's will, obviously.
Yes.
We don't know how that's going to work, but I don't think He's a God of. What did we talk about? We were talking about the deadline for something at Bible study the other night, and we're laughing. God's laughing at our deadline. Like, really? That's your deadline, huh? He doesn't need that, does He? And talking like with my daughter or even other kids, just because you're 17, 18 and graduating high school doesn't mean you have to have it all figured out
Right.
simply because of that. But it also doesn't mean you got all kinds of time. You have to try to. That's a tough balance.
It is. And at the end of the day, God already knows. So
Right.
we just ask Him, and that's a shortcut to pretty much everything in life.
Yeah.
Ask God, and that's pretty good.
But isn't it ironic that, okay, you took a different turn and you may not be going toward that whole movie directing career, and yet look at what you're able to still put into your life as you're pursuing the things of God.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you put it well. I don't know what else to add there other than I can look back now and see God had a very detailed plan and that there were a lot of people praying for me somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Like I can see it now. Back then, I just kind of thought I was the bee's knees, and anything that worked out was because of me, and it was never the case. Still isn't. God had a plan, and He was working it masterfully.
Mm. And the plan never ends, does it?
Oh, it keeps going.
Don't tell him
With
how old you
with Jesus, yeah, it never ever ends. It keeps
Right.
going good.
Because you guys, who knows what will happen in your lives before it's all said and done. You know, I can envision you. I'm not God trying to put a call in your life, but being a youth pastor, turning into a pastor, being some kind of. I know you guys have an active role in your church already, where you're at is teaching and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be that. You're already making an impact. But what I love is you're taking it to another level, making it bigger than just where you live. Because who knows when you get online now? Don't we? What a great tool it is to spread the gospel, having these things that we have nowadays. You know.
One person can reach a billion people if they wanted. But really, that one person is the one person we're trying to find. If all our work is just for one person to enter the kingdom, that's all we need.
That's right.
That's the mission God gave us. That's what we're going to do.
That's right. That's
But
right.
Every once in a while, Shannon and I talk about, man, if we made a movie, what would it be about? But then it kind of ends from there because we don't know.
All right.
So
Well, keep
it's
talking
still
about it.
there.
Yeah.
But
It'll happen one day. It'll happen, and then boom. How many people are stars today because of YouTube? We keep talking about that, right? We're gonna need to pay them royalties for talking about it here, but because they got on there and they showed their talent, and then it became an overnight sensation. It didn't happen 40 years ago, even 30 years ago. You know, you had to really know somebody and work the systems in whatever field you had.
Yeah.
And it's a different story now.
Yeah, that's hard to describe how back then, the same thing happened back then, but it wasn't like any old Joe Schmo. You had to be in the business, basically. You couldn't
Yeah.
just be any old dude posting a YouTube video. It had to be like, you had to be in television or in the movies and to be known.
Mm-hmm.
You had to know people.
You did.
You don't really nowadays.
No, and that's kind of where relationships have taken a turn for the worse. COVID destroyed a lot of that by making everybody afraid to. And I still think there's some leftover from that as
Big time.
well, you know.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I think trying to find ways to bring people together through that instead of letting the devil take it to
Definitely.
divide us.
Definitely.
And that's your goal. Your goal within the field is, I mean, you can put it in a nutshell, but you can elaborate with it. Like all these 7 years was just phenomenal. What was your goal starting out?
Well, we wanted to make. Originally, it was a hunting show, and we wanted it to be different from all the other hunting shows because, number one, they missed the God of all creation. 9 times out of 10, which there are a lot of good Christian hunters out there, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that wasn't the main point. And what we found out is that it's kind of hard to make hunting the main point and God the main point at the same time. You end up with some conflicts there. So we're still working out how to balance God is here in this and everything we do, and we're still having a fun time hunting out in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And depicting that has been the challenge our whole 7 years. But
Yeah.
ultimately, I would watch a hunting show and be left with the thought that that guy was probably a Christian, but you couldn't really tell. Like, it wasn't God first. And when I want someone to watch in the field, I want them to see God in the field. First and foremost, that's the whole point.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working on how to do that still, and Lord willing, we'll get there. But it was all about seeing God where you're at, whether your field is at Salisbury Trucking or out hunting or farming or in the office, whatever that might be.
Right.
In your field is where you should see God, wherever you're at. That was the point.
Gotcha.
We're working on it.
No, that's
And by the look on your face, we haven't quite figured it out yet because you've seen the show. And
No.
you're like, oh man, that's what
No.
he's trying to do.
No, because it clicked. The title makes even greater sense when you say it like that. Because I'm so one-dimensional, thinking in the field. There, you mean in your field of life, wherever you're at.
That's what I want anyone to be able to watch it and get that. But yes, in my field, it's definitely hunting and farming. It's like literally out in the field.
Right. So don't let that's not a, you're not going for a one-dimensional audience. You may not be into hunting and fishing and, you know, whatever outside. That's not what it's about. It's about where you're at, seeing God in it, allowing Him to work through you, leading people to Him, representing Him. That's beautiful. That's fantastic. See, even from where I sit, it's educational at times too, because when I listen, so.
Yeah, I can understand why anyone watching would think that it's just out in the field hunting. But it's really, we're trying to reach anyone for the kingdom. And so when you broaden your how do you put this, viewership to anyone, it's kind of hard when you only like to do what you like to do. So,
and that's how we are. We'll branch off at times, but it may not be our biggest thing, you know.
Yeah. Like we get some angry vegetarians every now and then, and I love you.
Yeah.
Don't need to be mad at me. I like eating meat.
Yeah. We could have had some steak right here while we were on it if we wanted to, but we don't want to do that either. And everybody's got their
thing.
passions with it, you know. It's not like you're gutting a deer on the show.
I've done that before. Sorry.
It's not like you're gutting a.
You have to look away.
It's not like you're gutting a bear. I keep talking about it. I guess I didn't see that one. But I'd like to learn how. Sorry. But at the same time, if you're just trying to the Bible tells us, grow where you're planted.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're just trying to make people understand. See God where you are. And in your case, it's here. You know, maybe if we can, we'll put a clip of one of the shows on the end of this one. We could do that and just kind of show folks what it's about. I'm asking the executive producer back there what she thinks of that. Because I think it's good to see it. We could talk about it, but you know they can get an idea. Like I said, my favorite ones are when you're reading the Word, and it's in the field reads, as you call it, and you've got the sound, the background, and the scene, the setting brings it to life for me. So that I enjoy that. I enjoy all of it, but that's really good. So
that's part of what we found is just the simpler things just seem to be enjoyed by people. Like, we used to do things kind of complex and fancy shots, and I liked it, but we found that other people just didn't. They liked cut and dry, what I would call cut and dry. Mm-hmm. And if that's what they like, I'm fine with that because it's easy to make.
It makes it a little bit easier to do it. How often do you put them out? Is there a pattern to say once a week, once a month, every other week? Or?
We go for every week to put something out at least, but we've been experimenting with that. Sometimes we put out 5 a week, sometimes we put out none a week, and every month we put out something. It varies. Hunting season is only once a year sometimes, and depends on what you're hunting. And
you gonna do a turkey hunting?
I've been wanting a turkey hunt for years, and working on a farm, I never got around to it because you always had to be planting or in the field doing that.
Sure.
So I never got out. I want to, yes. Turkey hunt.
Yeah. I went turkey hunting one time in Kentucky, not too long before we moved up here. I'm 1 for 1, and I retired that day. I shot
That's
one
better
time,
than me.
and I got him. I had a great tour guide with me though, that set me up
That's
really
the
well.
other thing I find out is that everyone's a better hunter than me when you actually get to talking to them.
That is not what's going on here. No, that's not what's going on. I happened to luck into that day for sure. And so when you hit a home run, your first at bat, you retired. That's what I did. But
that's just a sign of God's.
It's God was good right then for sure. Yeah. So was the turkey. But what is the process? Take me through beginning to end. You wake up one morning and you run out. You go, Shane, I got this great idea. And you start sketching it out. You write it, and it goes from there. And you go out and you film it. Where's most of the filming done? Here on your land or other places?
It varies. We film pretty much anywhere that the Spirit leads. I guess I would say mostly here, just because it's nearby. And we film on my dad's property downstate too.
Okay. Good.
He's got some big deer.
I bet. Yeah, that's a good place too.
Yeah.
So you get God lays you out. We have to stay spiritual here, I know, but God lay an idea, or you say, well, it's time for this one idea that we've had for a while.
That's one of the struggles we've had with making a hunting show, because you can't really script a lot of your show because you don't know what the deer are going to do. You don't know what the wildlife are going to do. So you end up jumping in, not knowing where it's going to lead.
Yeah.
And you kind of think on your feet. And then once you've got something, that's what 7 years of learning has been about, trying to figure out how to take that something God gave you and make it into the message you wanted said.
Okay.
And we're working on it. I'm not the best at it. And other times I'll get a message and it'll just be any old message, and we'll just go film it. It has nothing to do, like, we don't depend on the deer stepping out for that one.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to mix it up some.
So if it's a concept that's going to involve animals, any of God's wildlife, then it's going to take a little bit of planning and time and having to put a little
It's
bit more
gonna
effort.
take the Lord to move. Like, if He wants it done, He's gonna have to put. If He wants a big buck on camera, He's got to put it there, because I can only do so much. I can do a lot, but
He can
at
do
the
it.
end of the day,
Yeah.
He's got to send it that way.
He can do it, for sure.
Which, if you followed our show, you know that we haven't got a buck in 3 years.
Well,
We've
let's
been buckless for 3 years.
put that on your prayer list, America. We want in the field to get a book right over and have it show up. Yeah, I can put
That'd be good.
I can go find somebody's deer head and put it on
Yeah.
and walk around if you.
You don't want me to shoot you, and I don't want to shoot you either.
Oh, we're shooting.
Give a
Never
whole
mind.
meaning to turkey.
Never
hunting.
mind. I thought we were shooting the film. Not
Oh.
it's a different story.
That's like,
Yeah.
we eat what we shoot around here.
Hey, that's good. That's what it's all about, right? Everything we're eating right now was somewhere at one point in time. So you get the idea. It rolls into that depending on what it is, and it could take. If you try to be on every week, like I notice you do, I love when I get a notification that there's one up there. It takes about a couple 3 days to get it all together, depending on what you're doing. Then
It varies wildly, but it depends on what we're doing. Sometimes it'll take a month to piece everything together. Sometimes, if it's a long project, it'll take a year just
Yeah.
to try and get the beginning and the end. And other times, it's like shorts usually take, I can whip one together in an hour and be done. So, I mean, it varies a lot.
and you put it all together and you have it where you want it, and it goes to the YouTube channel, and then it's out. And it's still amazing to think about, isn't it? That whole process. You can do it right from home.
Yeah, have it all done.
Yeah, that's awesome. How many more years do you feel just going to go on?
Well, you better ask the
20
Lord
years.
that question. I don't know.
We can bow our heads in prayer right now, right? What your vision with it? I'm sure it's grown. You were talking to me earlier about the difference in looking at the first one to what you got going on now. What do you hope to do with it to make even what you're doing now look like the first ones did, as you continually grow and put even more into it?
To be honest, the first episodes that nobody sees, I don't want it to look like that. They just weren't good.
But
So,
that gives you an idea where you were, right? Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know. It's where the Lord leads us, and we're working on a couple projects that are not like what we've been doing, but I think they're good. We'll see what people have to say about it.
Sure.
So we're keeping that one hush hush at the moment, but we've got a project we're working on.
I don't want
You'll
to have
see it
to.
maybe soon.
They led me.
Maybe
in here
we'll
with
give
a-
you the sneak peek, but we
I would
don't have
love
enough
that.
ready yet.
I don't want you to have to lead me out of here with a black sack over my head and you can't see what's going on. I don't want that to happen. But I would love that, because I think when you're creative, and what I love, it's a husband and wife team. You're doing this for God together. There's nothing that bonds you closer than working on things together like that. And it's a ministry, and that's what's awesome about it. Whatever you're going to do is going to be fantastic.
No matter how many mistakes we make, God still loves us at the end of the day. And that's the beautiful thing about YouTube, is that you can make a flop followed right by a viral video. Like, it don't really matter. Like, people still look at the viral one because the flops don't get seen.
And still, I still like that, because there's a lot of them I follow. If it's a podcast or a YouTube channel show or whatever, I like it when they put. You guys have some blooper reels you put out too, which is funny. Let me know you're real. This isn't as the Facebook reality that we all have. We talk about that a lot. The post of
standing on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Life is perfect.
I never have a headache. I'm in pain. I never cry. I never have a bad day. That's not just real. We live in a fallen world, right?
And I'm just now getting into that, because I don't know. I I'd rather hide in the corner and not be seen. So I'm kind of an introvert. So doing that is relatively difficult for me.
Yeah.
I'm not good at being like, I stubbed my toe and I'm in pain and this didn't work out.
Yeah. Or people put,
I
you know,
just
I
wanted
always
to work
love.
out.
Yeah, let's just, yeah. When they put down how busy they are. I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox in a minute, but on Facebook, shoo, I'm so busy I don't have, and yet you had time to write a paragraph or 12 online about how
Sure.
busy you are. You could have got a lot
Yeah.
anyway. In the sense of what you guys are doing as a ministry with this, it's fantastic and reaching a lot of people. I'm sure it's reaching more than you even think.
I hope so.
Yeah, and whatever we can do together, partnering
Yeah.
with you with what we got going on as well.
I like hanging out with you. Recording is even better.
Yeah,
Especially if somebody wants to see it.
yeah, it's evidence of how smart we are and intelligent in sharing our
I think that might be evidence for something else.
well,
Nice try.
I'm not arguing that either, but it's a lot of fun. Growing up, you know, from our perspective as kids, me and my brother, we would do this kind of stuff all the time, and there was no camera. We would do sports talk out in the garage and set up lawn chairs and sit and talk about baseball season or football or whatever. And we got tape recorders, and that was the end of it right there, you know, in the 70s. Having this medium now, we would have never left the house if we had this kind of stuff, you know. Your hopes and dreams with it to lead people to the Lord, I know is great. How do they find it? On YouTube?
YouTube is the best place to find us. And we have like Rumble and Instagram, and we have a Facebook, but we don't. I use Instagram some, but it's Facebook, and it's Shannon will pop it up here. It's BGG in the field. If you search that, you'll find us. If you search in the field, you probably won't find us. So make sure it's BGG in the field, and you'll find us.
And that's Facebook?
That
or
is
YouTube?
YouTube, but you'd probably find us on Facebook that way too.
And you got to put BGG. What's that stand for?
In the field was taken, so I needed something else, so I put by God's grace in the field.
I thought it was Boy God is Good, but by
Yeah,
God's
that's a good
grace
one,
is
too.
good too. Yeah, I like that. I can live with that.
Either one would.
Yeah, because I found it because your biggest fan, Miss Karen, Sharon's mom, your mother-in-law, sent me the link. She's like, "You gotta watch this." It was fantastic. So they type it in there, they'll find it that way. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And like I said, Shannon can put those addresses and stuff up over there. We're putting an awful lot on her. I know.
Yeah.
We just keep saying, Shannon can do this and that.
She's not here to defend herself.
Well, she's looking at us like, you've mentioned my name more than I'm comfortable with, right? I'm fixing to turn the camera sideways over that way in a minute. And I might be, that's when the black bag goes over my head. At that
You won't
point.
ever get invited back.
Hope you enjoyed it. By the way, I'm going to start an online pizza business with these guys called Shannon and Derek's because I just had some of the greatest homemade pizza I ever had in my life tonight right here. And Great Ranch dip.
Shannon made it.
That was fantastic. Very, very good. I highly recommend it. Call her, ask her for the recipe, or we can start sending frozen ones all over the country. How about that? That would be good. We got all kinds of business out here. We'll put scripture inside the box. That would be good. I get all kinds of ideas. I just don't have the capital to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know? But search that in YouTube and on your Facebook page too. Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
Instagram would work better.
Instagram. What's Rumble?
It's like a YouTube alternative.
It is?
Mhm.
I've never heard of it. See? You whippersnappers teach this old man an awful lot of stuff here. Is it spelled RUMBLE?
Just like it sounds.
Never heard of it.
That's all
I think
right.
I'll look on that. My kids will think I'm cool.
We're there more like a backup.
Oh, gotcha. So go on there for that and subscribe it to there, and we definitely will. We'll have you on again, and I want
This has
to
been fun.
collaborate and get some stuff on. And we do a lot of different stuff throughout the year. So
We tried collaborating with you earlier this year when we invited you to come sledding behind the four-wheeler. And he's like, yeah, and never showed up.
that's because of somebody started explaining to me what that actually consisted of. Him and another knucklehead, Alex, our friend, driving four-wheelers with sleds hooked to the back or whatever, or inner tubes or...
Yeah, the snow is soft.
Yeah, but when you're going 85, everything becomes less soft. Like my head hitting the ground over there. You'd have had a lot of fun. Yeah, that would have been a lot of fun. I regret missing out on that.
Yeah, it was really, really cold. That
Wasn't
day.
it like a stupid cold day and you guys still got out there, didn't you?
Yeah, my beard was... I literally looked like Jack Frost or something because it was like frozen solid.
Oh, that's funny. That's
But it was definitely fun.
That's a good time. That's a good. Did you film that?
Yeah.
Any filming with that kind of thing? Yeah. We could throw a couple things on there of that too, Shannon. We're just giving Shannon all kinds of ideas over here, but that's a lot of fun. Life's about having a good time. I will definitely, I'll go with you in the summer when it's warmer.
When you want to sled in the
we
summer.
can
All
sled
right,
in the
we'll
summer.
remember that.
We'll ice fish in the summer too when it's not so cold. Remember BGG in the field on YouTube, and always give them a good comment on there with what they got going on. You're reaching people for the Lord, and I feel like I'm missing another question I was going to ask you, but hey, we'll have you back on again and keep working with that. But thanks, man. Thanks for having me in your home and feeding me and giving me a discussion here about it. What I love is there's all kinds of ways, as the Great Commission tells us, to go and make disciples, and that's what you're doing. So keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Give us a like on the Build My Church Network. Build My Church email we've got. You can give us a comment here on this on our Facebook page as well as on YouTube. But we will have the Brooks on with us again. We might even get Miss Shannon on the other side of the camera for a few moments. Don't know if that's going to happen or not, but hey, I'm having a great cup of coffee over here. But keep them in prayer that God will add to their kingdom, and we'll see you next time.